When it comes to weight shift, I hear all of these coaches talking about all these positions, how to do it and all of this stuff. And I'm like, isn't it obvious that there's something way deeper of an issue going on here? Okay, you know how to make the weight shift, you know how to make the moves and all those things. But when you go to hit a golf shot, what do? You hang back here, you flip at it, all these things that we don't want, as opposed to shifting the weight, forward shaft lean, hitting down, compressing the ball, all of these things that we want, not just with full swing, but with all golf shots, even short game shots. So, but the question is, what is really going on here? What if it were just that you really don't trust the loft of the club to get the ball airborne? What if you didn't trust the loft of the club to get the ball airborne? What would you do? Well, what you would do is exactly what you're doing when you're struggling with that weight shift. You would hang back here and you would flip at it. You would add loft to the club because you don't trust the loft of the club to get the ball airborne. All these things that are called weight shift issues are really just trust issues, that you don't trust the loft of the club to get the ball airborne. What if you did trust the loft of the club to get the ball airborne? Now all of a sudden, your weight would be over here. You'd be swinging down at it, talking irons here, you'd be swinging down at it, you'd have that forward shaft lean, you'd be getting that compression, you would not be kind of shoving it through with the trail hand and hanging back here. And if you were just kind of powering the club without shoving it through here, now you would also start to get a little bit of that hip rotation as you're getting that compression, as you're getting that forward shaft lean, as you're shifting the weight onto that lead foot. So this is a trust issue. And like any trust issue, if you, God forbid, you cheat on your spouse or something, it's not the weekend trip to Monaco that's gonna fix it, right? It's gonna be what you do day in and day out to build back that trust. And that's how this is too, when you start working on this and really learning how to trust the loft of the club. So I'm going to take you through a little progression here. You know, I love these progressions. I got gnats flying around. We got some humid air here. We don't usually have problems with bugs, but I'll try to get through this without a gnat flying into my eye here. So I'm going to take you through a little progression that is going to show you how to start to really do the small swing work. It always starts with the small stuff. When you're building trust with anything, when you're building trust with yourself, that you're going to trust that the loft of the club is going to get the ball airborne. Trust that you don't have to hang back and flip at it and help it up into the air. It starts with the small swing work, and I'm going to take you through a little progression here that's really going to show you how to do this. So the first piece to this, real simple. We just put the ball absolutely dead center, okay? So not forward, not back. And in general, you know, this is an 8-iron that I have here. So you want to use these more lofted clubs when you're doing this. This could be a pitch and wedge would be fine with this, whatever it is, but a more lofted club, okay? And put it in the center of your stance. With these shorter irons too, we want to favor the lead foot with weight, even at setup, okay? So 60-40. I don't even mind when you get down to those shorter irons, I don't mind seeing players going 70-30, even at setup, okay? It's different with driver. When you get to driver, everything's completely different because with these irons, we are swinging down, we are hitting down, we are compressing, the club's still traveling to the bottom of its swing arc as we're making impact, so we want that weight forward. With something like driver, we are actually intentionally swinging up at it, and the club passes the bottom of the swing arc and catches the ball in the upswing. So with driver, it's the only club where you're going to be more weight at setup on that trail foot, 60-40 here. So for what we're talking about right now, really making that good weight shift onto that lead leg, we're just going to focus on these short irons to start out with. So we are going to really favor that lead leg with our weight. Feet together, ball dead in the center of the stance. We're going to now take that, you know, I like that stronger grip where that lead hand is moved over to the right just a little bit for a right-handed player. Now we're just going to take this trail foot and we're going to go up onto the toe of it. Bring your knees together right here. Go up onto the toe of that trail foot, okay? So this is going to set, obviously, all of my weight over on this lead foot. Now, if I were to do any of that stuff that everybody struggles with, if I were to try to hang back and flip, yeah, I'm gonna fall over, right? So I can't hang back and flip when I'm in this little position right here. So ball in the center, up on the toe, knees together right here. And now all we're going to do, it's just a little rocking of the shoulders with a really small swing, keeping all that weight on that target side here. And just little swings like that. And starting to feel a little bit of that compression, a little bit of that ball kind of popping off the club face. So we might do a few of these to start our little progression here. So we'll put our feet together, ball dead center, up onto that trail toe. And again, we're just rocking the shoulders here. So just a couple of those to start really feeling, keeping that weight on that lead side, a little bit more of that compression, a little bit more of that hitting down, doing that with that more lofted club. So that's a great place to start with this. The next piece to this is where we get this towel down here. And this is just a nice visual to use. So this goes maybe 4 inches behind the golf ball right here. And I am telling you, I have gnats flying around my eyes like I've never seen out here right now. This is tough to stay focused. So, this is the next piece of this little progression right here, is that we are now going to put a towel right behind it. So the purpose of the towel is to really just kind of exaggerate the idea of not hanging back and flipping, right? So this is, you're just trying to miss the towel. So if you were gonna, do this hang back and flipping stuff, it moves the bottom of the swing arc back, you would hit the towel if you're hanging back and flipping. Having the towel here, we're just missing it, and it really helps you learn kind of that compression, that hitting down, catching the ball on more of that descending angle. Man, these gnats are crazy. So we are going to start with feet together right here. Same thing, ball right in the center. Now we're gonna go equal step, equal step. And the big thing we're gonna do now is we're going to put this ball under the outside of this foot, okay? And that's really gonna angle my foot this way, and it's gonna keep that knee on the instep, okay? Because what does everybody struggle with? Everybody's going to the top of the swing. You see a lot of what we call sway when the hips move away from the target in the backswing. So we see a lot of sway, and we see a lot of this knee going outside the foot. That, of course, rolls all of this weight to the outside of that trail foot. So we see a lot of this. Now if you're gonna be able to shift your weight from here, you're gonna have to go all the way back to here before you can start shifting it onto that lead foot. So one of the huge priorities here is just not to overshift over here by swaying and moving this knee outside of that trail foot. When you go to the top of the swing, even though you make some rotation right here as you go to the top of the swing, this knee would ideally still be inside the instep of that trail foot. And this ball under the outside of that foot is just a great way to feel that. You can see how that really exaggerates that. Now you can start to actually get up onto that little toe, up onto that, onto that little toe, up onto that trail toe here at the finish of the swing. So here's what that looks like. So now you can you can actually come all the way up on that toe. That's a good, solid feeling, compressed little shot. You can see there's plenty of trajectory on that shot. I don't need to help the ball up into the air or anything, especially with this 8-iron. One thing that I will mention with this as well, this is such a great exercise to do because it's not only going to help you with this weight shift issue that we're talking about, it's going to help you with everything, okay? Because there are only so many core issues, right? Most players, over the top, chicken wing kind of move, open face over the top chicken wing move. That's one major one. Another one is flipping, scooping, hanging back. These are probably the two major issues that everybody could work on the rest of their lives. Okay, so the one we're talking about right now is, of course, that second issue, which is flipping, scooping, hanging back, right? So what it means is, I guarantee you, you don't just do this with your full swing. You do it with your short game shots, you do it with your hybrids, do it with your short irons, everything, okay? And so it manifests differently though, and it's gonna help you with every one of those shots. Because as I just talked about there, this hang back flip move, when you hang back, flip at it, you're moving the bottom of your swing arc back behind the golf ball. With a short iron in your hands, you'll chunk it, right? With a hybrid in your hands, you'll brush the ground back here, catch it on the upswing, and you'll top it. When you're hitting a chip shot, you'll flip at it and chunk it, or you'll flip at it and miss the ground and blade it, okay? So these things that I'm showing you right now, these are going to help in every aspect of your game, not just your weight shift with your full swing shot, okay? So that's why it's so important to do these little drills, because you will notice that you will stop topping your hybrids, you will stop blading your short iron or blading your chip shots and pitch shots. You'll stop chunking those pitch shots and chip shots when you just start doing these little drills. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to do this daily at home. I'm talking about building trust here, right? And I said, if you cheat on your wife, you can't take her to Monaco. You got to do the little work every day to earn that trust back, right? If it ever comes back, which hopefully it will eventually if you make a huge mistake in your life like that. But it's kind of a weird place to go with that. But it is a good analogy, because when you are working on this stuff into the net at home, that's all you're doing. You're just building that little bit of trust every single day. You're not going to build trust, you know, going to the driving range to hit balls for 5 hours, hit 500 balls for 5 hours or whatever. That's like that trip to Monaco. That's never going to build any trust. You know, that's just some big act to try to be like, oh, I'm really doing something. You're going to build the trust by doing the small swing work at home every day. That's why these little progressions that I show you, I want you to do this at home daily. And that's not some over-the-top ask or something like that. I'm telling you, thousands and thousands of players who have been members of Face First Golf for years have absolutely, completely transformed their game by doing these little progressions that I show you daily at home for just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, or even better, twice a day for 5 minutes. And that's how you start to build trust in this stuff. So as I show you this progression, I want you to be thinking, would I be able to do this at home on a daily basis? Because that's how you build trust in this stuff. And when you build trust in this stuff, it's only one of the, as I said, 2 core issues in your swing. Your over the open face, over the top, chicken wing, and your other big issue is you're flipping at it with your hands. You don't have compression, rotation through impact, hitting down. Those are really the only 2 things that you could work on for the rest of your life. This is a little progression that if you would do this for 5 minutes a day, it would absolutely change every aspect of your game, not just your weight shift in your full swing. Feet together, ball right in the center, okay? Strong grip, equal step, ball under the outside of this foot. Oh, and by the way, there is a something called a foot wedge. It's a plastic wedge that goes under the outside of that foot. So if you are doing that practice at home, the Callaway foot wedge is the one that I have. I don't know if they still sell it, but if you are doing this practice at home, you're gonna want, a ball will not stay under your foot on the mat. So you're gonna want a little wedge. I've seen people cut their own little wedge or buy one. It's called the Callaway foot wedge. I don't know if it's still available, but a foot wedge is what you're looking for here. And so now, again, we're going to just make this little swing. We're gonna miss the towel. We're going to come up onto that trail toe right here. I've got 70% of my weight on my lead foot already. And now we're just going to, and that, I mean, that just feels pure and solid right there. So that's the little piece to this progression. And then of course you can just start making some regular swings here. The idea is that we are finishing the swing and the ball is just something that happens to get right in the way of the middle of this full flowing athletic motion that we are making of getting up onto this trail toe. So before you hit the ball Every time I want to see you do this twice. Now we've this is just making a swing now, right? This isn't a drill or anything like this. We're just making a swing here. So now we're just going to go slow and smooth here, and it's just 1,001, 1,002, all the way up on this trail toe, okay? And when I say all the way up on this trail toe, I mean all the way up on it, okay? Most players think this is getting up on that trail toe. This is not getting up on that trail toe. The feeling that you want with this trail foot is that you're going to drag the toenails of the trail foot, and that will give you that feeling of truly getting all the way up onto that trail toe. And this is something that you can and should do in front of a mirror. Okay, this kind of work, and there's so many of these things that you can do at home to really start to build this stuff. Don't wait and rely on going to the range. In fact, the range is almost a complete waste of time, because all you do out there is you go and you get distracted by ball flight, and you try to fix your ball flight from one swing to the next, and it turns into a try this, try that session. You're gonna get so much more out of it if you get in the habit of doing these little things every day that you can do at home. And this is a great one, because you can sit in your living room at night while the family's watching TV or whatever, and you can stand there and watch yourself in the sliding glass door when it's dark outside, light inside, and that the sliding glass door, most homes, I don't know, my house has a sliding glass door anyway. I don't know if yours does or not, or a mirror, whatever it is, but you can just watch yourself and you can make these little swings, and you go, hold it, 1,001, 1,002. Now look at yourself in that mirror. Am I really all the way up on that trail toe? Okay, yes, I am. All right, 1,001, 1,001, 1,002. Am I really all the way up on that trail toe? So you can and should work on this stuff away from the driving range. Driving range is almost a complete waste of time. There is a place for it, but I recommend about 20% of your practice time at the driving range and about 80% of your practice time at home. That's how you build these skills and really ingrain and learn this stuff, okay? So that is now, after we've made those couple little practice waves right here over the ball, and we go 1,001, 1,002, 1,001, 1,002. Now we're just gonna make a real smooth little swing. This doesn't have to be full speed when you're doing this practice stuff. We're gonna miss the towel right here. That's gonna help us really focus on this kind of action instead of this kind of action here. And we're just going to go 1,001, 1,002. So that is a little progression that you can go through. Start with feet together up here, right? Then we're gonna go equal step, narrow stance, ball under the outside of this trail foot, putting this towel down here and starting to then get all the way up onto this toe. Then we get rid of the ball under the outside of that trail foot there. Keep your towel down here, make 2 practice waves. 1,001, 1,002, 1,001, 1,002. Now get that ball down there and go ahead and hit it and see if you can just flow through the ball. You're not hitting at the ball, okay? Flow through the ball. The ball's not there. You're just making a full flowing athletic motion that a ball just happens to be in the way of the middle of that motion. And if you go through this progression on a regular basis, you will start to build trust in the loft of the club getting the ball airborne. You'll start to learn compression. You'll even start to get some hip rotation, and you're darn sure start to get some good weight shift onto that lead side. So I hope that helps you understand. Weight shift is a totally, like so many of these things in golf, we've got to go deeper. We got to figure out what the root cause is. And weight shift, it's not like people don't know how to shift their weight. It is something much deeper. They just don't trust the club to do the work. So I hope when you go through that progression, do a little bit of this. I hope this really helps you learn how to trust the loft of the club, let the club do the work, and make that nice balanced, full weight shift and finish.